Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm not here with Geeky Sparkles in this video, and this is some pretty terrible news to wake up to. It looks like Nelvana, Canadian animation studio, legendary Canadian animation studio Nelvana, quietly shut down on Friday. I have to give a hat tip to Jaggins Junk, who sent this over. He actually sends a lot of the cartoon news my way, so thank you for that. But yeah, it was quiet. It didn't happen with any fanfare. There was no formal announcement. They just shut down on Friday. Now, they have been having some financial problems, but what's so weird about this is that they just announced some new programs, I guess, on, let's see here, 2 weeks ago, that they were going to be doing a Property Brothers animated series, and it just, I don't know who wants that, but apparently somebody did. They just shut down on Friday. So let's talk about this, talk about kind of the history of Nelvana and people reacting to it. It caught a lot of people off guard. I want to talk about this in the context of the animation industry in general, that things are not good right now. I know people are like, Clownfish, you're just being negative. And no, things are really, really not good right now. Like, there are a lot of people working in the animation industry who have been holding out for 2025 because they were told if they can just last until 2025, survive until 2025, that things are going to be fantastic. And things are not fantastic. I just talked to someone in the animation industry who lives in LA a couple of days ago, and they were saying that it's catastrophic. It's so much worse than what's being reported right now, that a lot of shows are not being greenlit. A lot of budgets are being slashed. A lot of people, were told if the union, if that works out, we're going to be gold and everything is going to be good. And that's not the case at all. And AI does factor into that. Outsourcing factors into that. It's just the expense of animation. And as we're talking about Nelvana, we'll talk about how expensive some of their productions were. The Droids cartoon, love it or hate it, was like back in the 80s was like $500,000 an episode. It only lasted for 13 episodes because it was too damn expensive, and the reality is that, good animation is expensive, and it gets more and more expensive with each passing year, which is why the studios are looking at, incorporating more AI into it to cut down on the expense, and why they outsource, because overseas, they don't have to pay people very much. Let's be honest. And that's why so much of this stuff is getting punted to, Korea, India, China, North Korea, via China. It is what it is. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Geeky is not here, but she's here in spirit. If spirit of Halloween, maybe it's Spirit Halloween. Oh my God, Nelvana is going to become a Spirit Halloween. Go out to Kickstarter. She's got her Halloween pins out there. She's killing it. Over $10,000 for enamel pins. That doesn't happen very often. So thank you very much for that. They're glow in the dark. She designed them herself. They got converted to vector by our pin partners. And we're going to flip these as fast as we can, as soon as we get the money in, placing the order, shipping these out. So thank you very much. Again, Geeky Sparkles, Glow and Ghouls, retro enamel pins on Kickstarter for about a little over a week yet. We might take some late pledges too, but I don't know if those pins will get out to you in time for Halloween, but they're still pretty cool, even if you get them a bit later. So my understanding is that Nelvana closed up on Friday. Now, they have had a lot of issues for the past couple of years now, and we kind of sort of traveled in the same circles. We used to actually, until now, I guess it's been about 4 years now. We were actually part of Channel Frederator, and a lot of people don't know that, but we were part of Frederator. We had access to those people on the animation side, and we talked, to a lot of them about, the industry and the state of the industry, and actually the co-founder of Nelvana was Michael Hirsch, and he was actually, we literally talked to him oh my God, when was it? It was about 2 or 3 years. Maybe it was about 3 years ago. I think right before he left. We talked to him. We had some pitches and the whole thing. I mean, it was like people were like, "You don't know anything about cartoons." Like, no, no, no. We're busy beavers behind the scenes. But Michael Hirsch was the co-founder of Nelvana, and he worked at WoW, and WoW bought Channel Frederator. Then Fred left, and like all those people left, and we kind of could tell like everything was sort of imploding. Not necessarily with Nelvana. I didn't know what was going on with Nelvana, but like the whole Canadian animation scene was kind of coagulating. But yeah, he owns WoW, and they bought Frederator, and that was when we kind of noped out. We're like, I mean, he's a real nice guy. We talked to him for a while. He was the director, I believe, of Rock and Roll. Had a lot of good stories. We also had a chance to talk to another industry vet, and we did this on air, John Celestri, who worked on Rock and Roll and who worked on a lot of Nelvana stuff. He was a guy who designed the holiday special version of Boba Fett. He worked on that scene. So very cool guy. And yeah, it was just a weird situation kind of with them. They got more and more into kids stuff. They did, obviously a lot of, George Lucas's stuff. They did the Beetlejuice cartoon, which was freaking awesome. I'm really surprised they didn't pull more from the Beetlejuice cartoon. Rock and Roll, again, one of my favorite animated movies of all time. Massively underrated. But Beetlejuice, the animated series was actually really good. And I'm surprised they didn't pull more from that for the Beetlejuice sequel, because that would have been kind of cool instead of him, like creeping on Lydia. I don't know. But and Michael Hirsch worked on that too, I think. But it was very surprising to hear that they just like up and folded. But I didn't realize they were having the financial problems that they were either. So they here's some of the early tweets or Blue Sky posts. They were based out of Toronto. And yeah, there's so much they worked on. Like, you guys don't realize, like, they worked on so many shows over the years. Devin Mack said, with 54 years of history and no major fanfare, Nelvana closed its door this past week. Some know the animation special for Rock and Roll, Star Wars Holiday Special, Droids and Ewoks. I knew them for incredible 90s shows. Yeah, Tintin was really good. Magic School Bus, they worked on that. Like, there's so many, I didn't even know they worked on Rupert. This is Morgan Fortier, I guess, on X. There is no news about this, no announcements, but Nelvana closes doors today. That would be Friday. My dad worked there. It was, to a great extent, the playground I grew up in. It breaks my heart where the industry is going. This company deserved a better announcement around this, better celebration of its contribution to the Canadian entertainment system, but just nothing. Yeah. Again, very surprising given that they just announced a new show, and I keep pulling up the wrong thing. There we go. The Property Brothers. Again, I don't know why. Property Brothers cartoon, and it's not happening. Very, very weird. Oh, no, I guess it debuted, so they already worked on it. Yeah. Nelvana, yep. So let's go out to REZZED. They were covering it. Like, all the... it's so weird, like... The people that hate us the most live on Reddit, and they live on like REZZED, and they live on Blue Sky. But, and I hate to be that guy, but we've been right again, because we know a lot of people who work in the industry and they do talk to us. And there's a difference between I'm an aspiring animator, I want to work in the industry, and the people who actually make things go. And the people who make things go will tell you things are not good right now. And they've seen it all. A lot of these people have been doing this for decades, and they're like, I've seen it all. It's not good. Look at Warner Brothers right now with, Cartoon Network and what's left of it. But it's just sad. I mean, this is really sad to see. Nelvana, I mean, they did Care Bears, for God's sake. They went from Rock and Roll to Care Bears, the movie. And I think Care Bears saved their ass, if I remember correctly, because Rock and Roll was a huge disaster for them. I mean, amazing technological achievement. It didn't, and everybody who worked on that movie had great passion for it, but it didn't translate into dollars. And that's what people don't understand about animation, is it can be an amazing piece of animation, an amazing movie or whatever, but if it doesn't translate into dollars, you're not going to be in business very long. And they had to pivot into kids shows to save themselves. And that's what they did. So this is coming from Reddit. Nelvana has seemingly shut down, not officially confirmed, but Nelvana, one of Canada's most storied animation studios, appears to have quietly closed down on Friday. Yet another casualty of Corus Entertainment struggles to survive. Yeah, it's not good right now, guys. This person said, I feel like part of me just died. Thanks for making those visits to Grandma's house so much more bearable. Nelvana shows were such a big part of my childhood afternoons. Magic School Bus, Inspector Gadget, RoboCop, the series. I forgot. Yeah, I love the 80s. The 80s was fantastic because we had so many R-rated movies, had cartoon shows and toy lines. RoboCop, Rambo, Aliens. God, how many other ones were there? Police Academy. The first Police Academy movie was rated R because it had titties in it. I remember it had titties. The bonfire, the infamous bonfire scene, because I think they raised the height of the flame for network. But the original Police Academy movie was an R-rated movie like Porky's. And then they had a cartoon show and they had toys. This is a great time. It was a great time to be a kid. Freaking Aliens, you weren't old enough to watch the movie, but you could go, buy Alien action figures and RoboCop action figures, and it was crazy. But yeah, very sad news. Let's see what's going on. Resetter, I think, had more on it. This was yesterday. Incredibly depressing news. Between this and a bunch of channels closing right away, including family, the kids media landscape in Canada is looking really freaking rough right now. Nelvana closing unceremoniously feels like it should have been setting off red alarms for our entertainment industry. It's in general. It's not just family TV. Well, okay, it is family TV in the fact that kids are watching AI slop on YouTube now on Shorts. I think YouTube Shorts and TikTok are eating the lunches of all the kids shows. And again, the bread and butter of the animation industry. And I know there's adult animation. I know there's, upper class animation, Adult Swim, and all this stuff, highbrow animation. If kids don't watch it, if kids aren't watching cartoons, there's not going to be much of an animation industry left. I mean, they're your bread and butter. They always have been. Kids always have been. I know a lot of young adults don't like to hear that. They like to sneak in young adult concepts as a kid's show or whatever. But if kids are not watching cartoons or don't have access to cartoons, there's not going to be much of a cartoon industry. I mean, I'm just being real here. This person says, I know a lot of people who used to work there. The animation industry, especially here in Canada. Okay, can we talk about this? Because again, I'm 100%. I feel horrible for people losing their jobs. I feel horrible for the people that have been out of work for a while. What I don't feel horrible about is being justified, because we've been trying to warn people for years, that things are not in a good place right now. And we've been mocked for it. We've been dragged for it. We've been called Nazis and bigots and homophobes and all this other shit. And I'm like, we are trying to help you. Okay. Bilbo Baggins, I'm trying to help you. Okay. Because we do talk to people who've been doing this a lot longer than our critics. And they said things are the worst that they've been in decades. I mean, it is what it is. And Nelvana shutting down the way they shut down, just boom, just we're done after 50 years, 60 years in business. I mean, if that doesn't set off warning bells, your Cartoon Network leaving their studio, if that doesn't set off alarm bells, things are not good. I don't know what else is. And at that point, if you are willfully ignorant and you choose to ignore all the red flags and you choose to double down on this delusion that you're just going to go get some job in the animation industry and get paid six figures and you're going to be part of a union and everybody's going to make tons and tons of money forever and ever and ever, then you deserve to fall flat in your fucking face, because it's not reality. And I'm sorry. I hate to be that guy. I'm a dad. Right. So I'm going to give you some dad advice. It's not a realistic goal, right? You can try for that goal and you can try to pitch your shows and whatever, but this is not 2015. They're not going to pick up your Tumblr cartoon and give you millions of dollars. They did that and they failed. Again, kids have to watch this shit. I'm not saying you can't do animation. In fact, I think right now is the best time for any independent animator ever, because you've got access to audiences and tools that nobody had prior to the last couple of years. So I think, in that regard, I think that if you really have what it takes, you probably have the best opportunity you've ever had. If you're just going to want to warm a seat working for somebody else's studio, then no. Yeah, you're kind of boned at this point. Unless you live in like India or something, or, the Philippines, and you're going to work for a couple dollars a day, you're kind of boned. They're not going to give you another Shira. They're not going to give you another, what else do they have? A High Guardian Spice. Those days are over 100%, and they're not coming back. But here, Divi. Thank God for you, Divi. The animation industry, especially here in Canada, is in a pretty bad place right now. Nelvana wasn't the first animation studio to shut down this year. I didn't know that. There's only a handful of studios still hanging on, but times are tough, especially with the flow of PBS-funded shows grinding to a halt because of all the fucking orange shitbag BS. Okay, well, no, Divi's right though. They shut. So PBS actually did have a lot of animated series, and those shows were a lot of them done in Canada. A lot of them were. And if not Canada, I think I want to say. I want to say that what was it, Jakers or whatever, the one, the studio that did the 2000 Mike Young Productions, I think they were in Ireland or something, but a lot of stuff was done out of the country. It wasn't US animated. It was Canadian animated. And there is a history of PBS in Canada kind of going back and forth with shows, with kids shows, entertainment. I know that they had like Degrassi was on PBS here in the States. So yeah, I mean, and that gravy train's ending, and they canceled a bunch of those shows. They canceled, I think, was Maggie and the Ferocious Beast, was that one of theirs, or was that one of Mike Young's? But they canceled a ton of that stuff because they did cut the funding. Corporation for Public Broadcasting cut the funding, and the first thing they did is they cut cartoons, they cut animation because it's too expensive. And it's sad. It is sad. I mean, the reason it got cut though was because they're pushing too hard in the politics, and I mean that's also the truth. Both things can be true. They had good entertainment, they had good shows. Our kids used to watch PBS cartoons all the time, and also they blew themselves up because they got too partisan with the politics on the news, and it's supposed to be publicly funded, and we've got a new regime in the White House, and they're like, yeah, no, screw this shit, we're gonna shut it down, and they did. So there we go, Divi. But Divi is telling you, if you don't listen to me, listen to Divi. Divi doesn't even like Trump. I don't really care for Trump that much. I tolerate what's going on, but that's about it. But I'm not shitting on people who do because, I mean, why? But if you don't listen to me, if you think I'm a damn Nazi, listen to Divi. Divi's saying things are bad, okay? It's not just me. God, it's not just me. If you go out, look, go out to Reddit, do some basic research, go out to the animation career subreddits, and you will see heartbreaking story after heartbreaking story of how bad things are in the animation industry right now. It's not just me making shit up. Things have literally never been worse for animators. I don't think at this point in time. And this is with movies making billions of dollars, but then for every Inside Out 2 you have, you get an Elio. Or you get what was the other one? The Teenage Mermaid Kraken Ruby Gilmore, was that what it was called? That thing made $8 million, and a lot of this stuff, DreamWorks has even said they're shipping it to India. They're using AI. It's not where it used to be. And I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I really am. Because I love cartoons. That's how we started the channel, talking about animation, cartoons, and comics. Because we love that stuff. We do. YTV has been gutted for a while. So I take it that's the was that like the Canadian equivalent of what, like Disney Channel? They have a Disney Channel in Canada, and they shut that down too. Our industries are being decimated across the board. Despite all the patriotic messaging over the last 9 months, domestic investment in Canada so far this year has been lower than last year. More money is flowing to the U.S. because of the AI bubble. Yes, capital doesn't care about patriotism or sovereignty. The government needs to step up and support local arts across all sectors. Do they? I don't know. Maybe. That'd be nice, but do they have to? Our newspapers have been taken over by Republican-leaning American owners. CBC is the last bastion of actual Canadian journalism left. We nearly lost it all in the election cycle. You nearly lost it all in the election cycle because this is the same Canada that was like, they're going to freeze truckers' bank accounts and shit. I'm just saying, this is what happened in the U.S. too. Do I agree with everything going far right? No, not necessarily. But, you know, you push the pendulum too far in one direction, it's going to swing back hard in the other. And that's what happened. For the last 10, 15 years, the left was in charge here in the U.S., and they fucked up big time. And they kept pushing it, and they kept pushing it, and they kept pushing it. And then it became unbearable for normal people in the middle who just wanted to live their lives, and they had to worry about microaggressions, they had to worry about misgendering people, and they had to worry about, you know, what they could let their kids watch. And so, yeah, the pendulum swung back hard. It did. I mean, it did. I don't know how it will manage to stay alive with that SpongeBob. Okay, so is that Nickelodeon then? Choice should be between get gouged by predatory Canadian company and pay more for, I don't know, fuck it, government. Now we're getting into Canadian politics. They did Little Bear. Yeah, Little Bear was a good show. Rock and Roll is one of my all-time favorites. Yes, Rock and Roll is an amazing, amazing movie. Did you know that the demon was made out of cow brains? Did you know that? That was the first time anybody used cow brains in a cartoon that I'm aware of, except for maybe like Salvador Dali. The demon at the end of the movie was actually it was cow. They had the line art, and then they put cow brains on the damn camera to pretty amazing, because they're like, we need it to look grotesque and biological, and it's like, yeah, well, you work with what you got, right? I mean, poor cows. I had no idea they were Canadian. Fuck, I feel like they were doing everything when I was a kid. They were. Yeah, and I think the wild thing about this is you have a company as storied as Nelvana, and they're just shutting down without much fanfare. They're just like, yeah, we're just closing it. But they said they're probably cutting down. Corus is probably cutting down because they're looking to sell the company off. And that's really sad, because apparently they've been cutting for a while. This was last year. This is like a year ago. So they got rid of their CEO, I guess. She was a top executive, Athena Georgakopoulos. Georgakopoulos. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Terrible at that. She's going to depart on July 26th last year from the animation studio. Barney Franklin Babar. Damn. And they were cutting last year, and then now they just shut down. So I have to wonder if they're just selling it off by pieces, and that Property Brothers show that they dropped is like the last thing they had in the pipeline. And they're just like, yep, when we're done with that, we're done. I'm sure it's good. I'm sure a Property Brothers cartoon show is going to be a huge hit. just, hey, maybe it will be. Maybe it will be. But this was last year. Yeah. And they bought Toon Boom from Nelvana. I didn't know that Nelvana owned Toon Boom for $111 million to allow parent company Corus to pay down debt. So they sold Toon Boom. So that's why they sold Toon Boom to a private equity firm in New York, just so Nelvana could pay their bills. They said, but restructuring Corus, like any other Canadian TV network, has not been able to keep pace with industry-wide cable cord cutting and a dramatic drop in advertising revenue as TV viewers increasingly go to streaming platforms while U.S. programming costs continue to climb. It's everywhere, though. They're cutting costs everywhere. But I think streaming definitely is cutting into it. And the thing is Netflix is international. HBO Max is international. So, you know, all the I'm telling you, all the entertainment's going to basically come out of the U.S. tech industry, like globally. Like it's all going to come out of the U.S. tech industry, and a lot of it's going to be propped up, by Saudi money or whatever. But like, it is what it is. This is the new reality, and it's sad. Again, I'm not happy about it. I want to be very clear. But here they did. Oh, that was wow. Okay, Bee and Puppy Cat, that was part of Nelvana, but they've done so much. I mean, I'm just going through this article on Pirates and Princesses, and we got Care Bears, Rock and Roll, Beetlejuice, Bubble Guppies, Star Wars Holiday Special, Droids, Ewoks. First season was good. Second season was trash. It's just it's sad, guys. It's sad. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up. Good luck to those of you who have been displaced. Really, truly, I mean that. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Again, last shout out. Check out Geeky's Glowing Goals enamel pins over on Kickstarter. Thank you very much for the support. We'll talk later. For more pop culture news, views, and rants, go to news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com. fanfare.com.